Yeah.
I was asked to prove that my tenants had insurance while I want them to be insured, and I warned them of the problems if uninsured. How can I make them get insurance?
Great question, Maria. So the answer is twofold. The first is you can legally make that now part of the lease agreement. Years ago, you could. You were not allowed to do that. Excuse me. You can do that now. So that's the first criteria. You make that part of the lease agreement, and then what happens is in that I would make that a subject to them listing you as an additional insured. Okay, write that word down, everyone. Additional insured. Because what happens, it sounds like it's a very complex insurance coverage. It's not. So when you get listed or added to their renter's policy as an additional insured, the premium doesn't increase. There's no additional exposure to you as the landlord. But what that does is you are now entitled to rights and privileges if that policy is ever canceled. So if they refuse or cancel payment, the insurance carrier has to give you notification that that policy is no longer in force.
So this is asking to be the additional insured. That's what you're saying.
Correct. The additional insured on their tenant's insurance.
So how do you know, like, do you require them to send you a proof? Like, or a summary from the insurance company? Like, how would that all work?
So again, that would be subjectivity B in the lease, right? So they have to annually provide you with proof of insurance or a certificate of insurance that they have renter's insurance in place.
Okay. All right.
And again, if they cancel it for whatever reason, you should be notified by the insurance carrier as an additional insured.
Okay. And part 2 of Maria's question is short term. Does this still apply to short-term renters?
It does. It does. Yeah, absolutely. It does. Now, again, in theory, it does. But when you have a short-term rental agreement, right, it's you cannot put in there provisions or clauses that would be the same as a 12-month lease agreement. And you know what? That's another conversation for a lunch and learn. I'd be happy to jump on that one. Mm-hmm. But so there are nuances within the STR lease agreement. But again, in reality, Sarah, are you going to get someone that's going to send you, if they're renting your cottage for the weekend or a week, are they going to send you proof of insurance? No, they're not. In the real world, that's not the case.
I mean, I'm not the insurance broker, but what I'm thinking there is just, you just got to make sure that with your insurance broker, you let them know what the actual purpose of that property is, so that you have the proper insurance on your end. And then something like even just going through Airbnb, they have another $1 million liability insurance there as well, is kind of like that dual protection for that short-term type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. That you know what? Well put, because you cannot buy property insurance, all right, through Airbnb. Not that I'm aware of yet. I've went through their wording, right, to see, but you do get some liability protection through that. Yep. Good
yeah.
point.
And they're pretty